I have a really weird memory. I don't know why. Maybe it is because of my whack sleeping schedule. Maybe it's bad luck. Nevertheless, I have this quirk of remembering really niche, useless things, while at the same time forgetting or misremembering pretty crucial events. I never really took too much notice until I started to write the script for the first Zuma video. In the intro, I gave a quick backstory of my experience with loneliness and talked about the wasted years of my life I don't like remembering. So anyways, I finished the video, I posted it weirdly got a lot of attention, I was a happy boy. And then I got this comment. As I read that comment, I found it to be very relatable. Not in a I can see that being an issue type of way, but in a I remember type of way. The things I was so ashamed of and tried so hard to hide resurfaced. I felt what they were saying. It dawned upon me that I've been here before. I don't want to get too ahead on myself, so I want to make one thing clear. I'm not claiming I was depressed, since I never went to be diagnosed, nor do I particularly care. I mean, it is what it is. Whether I was or wasn't doesn't change the way I felt. I do feel comfortable saying that I'm an anxious person. I turn little things into catastrophes, and I hate that I'm often pessimistic. This is really embarrassing, but during those messy years, I used to go days without showering basic hygiene. I remember one time my mom took a picture of myself to show to my grandma. I fucking hated that picture and I fucking hated myself. I mean, I hated myself in general, so you know. Only in recent years I've been able to be more of myself around my family. A little goes a long way. Before that I wore a mask around my family. The main reason was because I never really fit in. I'm the odd one out in the group. Only my dad and younger siblings get me. So I tend to be the dry, expressionless, quiet one, when in reality I'm quite the opposite. It does suck that they can never truly appreciate the drip. I asked my family how I was during those days. I was like, hey, come on, be honest, bro. Did I look alright? Did I look like OG Fortnite, bro? They said no, you look depressed. You look like baby Gronk. Man, y'all can let a young dapper man like me not take a shower for a week straight, bro? Even though they are crazy. They may have a point, since in memories, all I can feel was being a mess. The worst part was the infinite tiredness. No matter how many hours I slept, I would still feel tired, but I would hate oversleeping, since it felt like I was running out the clock, wasting days of my life. Let's just say I didn't get my femboy beauty sleep during those years. I was told that these were gonna be the great years of my life, my wonderful youth, but instead, I'm lying in bed doing nothing, feeling too shitty to do anything, living only to say I exist. I was a hermit. Whenever I did go out, it was at night, so I wouldn't encounter people since I grew a disdain towards people, from which I haven't fully recovered, but it is much better now because back then, I hated people. I really fucking hated them. For the way they would treat me, for the way they would look at me. I think that's one of the reasons I don't like being touched or looked at today. When I went to hang out with my friends, I was anxious. I had tremors and stress in my belly area. I would often walk for an hour beforehand in order to calm down, which is really weird since these are my friends. I've known these dweebs since I was a child. Why? There's literally nothing to be afraid of, but still here I am sweating and stressing out. And then there's my parents. I hate being with my parents because I felt like I was being judged. I felt like they were disappointed in me, so I sort of isolated myself from them. I was doing them a favor, I thought. Their son is a loser anyways. That guilt of not being great or someone was unbearable. In short, was I depressed? Shit, maybe. Was it just a rough patch and I tugged that shit out? Shit, maybe. The one thing that haunts me is what it did to my mom. While my dad was more of the opinion of, don't worry bro, he's tugging that shit out. I guess he was right. My mom was on the total opposite end. I remember her telling me she couldn't sleep at night because she was so worried about me. One night she was crying. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me she was scared I was gonna kill myself. I think everyone has thought about killing themselves. Spring is beautiful. I've always loved spring. I get really bad seasonal affective disorder during winter. The seasons and weather really affect me. I get super depressed. It's just so ugly and dead outside. It becomes a colorless world. I despise winter, so I can't wait for spring's flowers to come and bloom and finally go outside and sit under a tree covered by its shade, surrounded by a pretty sea of green. I do, however, get really bad allergies. My eyes get crusty and watery. I look like one of those SpongeBob hyper-realistic drawings. One day, on my way back home from what I can assume was a very underwhelming school day, there was this man in my living room who I never met in my life. Let's call him Alexandre. He introduced himself, and turns out he was one of my neighbors. And that's kinda neat. I didn't really think too much of it. We chatted a bit and I said something about my allergies, and the goat went back to his house and gave me some medication on the spot. What a fucking legend. I liked him. He was very nice, smart, funny, had a good job, and seemed very well put together. I even vaguely remember him wanting to teach me how to code. Unfortunately, I didn't take that amazing offer Because surprise, surprise, I was a shitbag teenager. He'd come from time to time to talk with my dad or to interact with us. Since we shared building responsibilities, some neighbor was cleaning the building. It was due. Apparently, it smelled really badly. Since the weird smell wouldn't vanish even after a good cleaning, they thought that it must have come from one of the apartments. It's no big surprise, really. A lot of my neighbors' houses are disgusting. So they looked, and they ended up finding the apartment where the smell came from. So they knocked. No reply. They tried a couple more times during the day, but still no reply. I think a day or two passed and still nothing, so they decided to call the cops. That's where they found out that Alexandre had hung himself. He had been there for like 3 weeks. Why would someone who seemed so well put together end their life? I later ended up discovering that Alexandre had no one. He was a very lonely man. I wish he would have just told us of his struggles. We thought he was doing just fine, but if we had known, if he would have told us, we would have loved to help him. My thoughts of suicide began in high school. It started innocently enough. I was simply wondering as to how I would do it, more as a passing thought, really. During the messy years was when I began to take it seriously. The main reason why I wanted to kill myself was because of the enormous shame I carried with me. The guilt of not being good enough, or the shame of disappointing my parents was. It's just too much. My parents deserve better. I would stay in bed and ask myself, like I'm going nowhere in life. Not gonna lie, this life shit blows major chunks. I kinda don't like it here, so like what's the point? Why not do it? Maybe I'm meant to leave. It was like that meme. Technically, if I did kill myself, let's be honest, my problems would be solved. But major downside, when you kill yourself, you kinda die. So which is no bueno. Now the plan was simple. I thought an overdose would be okay, I guess, but ideally I would just jump off the bridge next door. Whenever I began to take it into serious consideration and start to do actual research or plan things out, I would think of the consequences of my actions. Picturing my little siblings knocking at my door only to find my dead body, or my mom waiting for me to come home, thinking I went missing, was enough of a reality check to snap out of it and stop sudden desires. The pain won't go away. Somebody else will have to bear it. But what if things were different? What if I had no one? Not gonna lie, I don't know. I don't see why I wouldn't have killed myself. Not even my dreams would have been enough of a deterrent to stop it. At this moment in time, I have no plans of yoinking myself out of existence. Don't worry, this isn't a cry for help. I still have some gas left in the tank. Though as morbid as it will sound, realistically, you never truly know. Who knows if in 10 years I'll feel the same? Who knows if in 5 years I'll feel the same? I'm not trying to be pessimistic either. A lot of things can change in 5 years, good or bad, for you and me. The heaviness of the world might be too much to bear, and without someone there to hold your hand, in the heat of the moment, bad things can happen. I can understand why people kill themselves. I felt like I was a burden to others. I was useless. My perception was so clouded, I thought it would be better off if I wasn't around. Obviously, this whole line of thinking is incredibly wrong. I'm just saying, I get it. All I know is that people will wish you were here. I'm not trying to guilt trip or anything, it's just the truth. No one is going to be happy when you leave. I wish Alexandre was still here. Lately, I have been feeling really down. I've noticed I'm drifting and slowly slipping into my old ways. Since I don't want to enter into that void again, I found a couple of ways to stop things before they go out of hand. From time to time, I still get those days. Life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel up, sometimes you feel down. Keep this into consideration though. These tips are not cures, these are more like preventative measures. I'm gonna skip the motivational speech. You most likely already heard all the talking points anyway. I'm not David Gongings. Speaking to someone is by far the best method. I always feel a lot better afterwards. Speaking about your problems can help put things into perspective. While they can help you with some of your problems, of course, honestly, being heard and acknowledged is more than enough. You'll also be surprised by how much others can relate. People you don't expect can be suffering in silence too, meaning you can end up helping each other out. And speak about it as much as you need. You may think you're annoying, but I promise you, you aren't. If you have no one, find someone. There are support groups, online or offline. There's hotlines. Writing your problems down can be a nice alternative too. What do you think I'm doing now, bro? I urge you to speak to someone if you are suicidal. There's no point in suffering alone. This tip comes from my friend after speaking to him about my situation. He told me to find something that makes you want to get out of bed. It can be anything. Try a sport, a new hobby, even more sedentary things like anime, art, music, TV shows, cooking, Fortnite, work. Doesn't matter if it's unproductive. Don't feel useless because you're not being productive or you're not helping society or shit like that. You're like a car in a repair shop. You need some touch-ups before you're up and running again. Think of yourself first. And look at things this way, okay? Let's say you start watching anime. It might seem like a waste of time, but you might end up inspired by the amazing storytellings of animes like Death Note or Attack on Titan, that you end up creating something great, something magical, maybe even the next big thing. And you better give me some credit, bro. Now let's say you go and watch some Dragon Ball or Baki. You see how jacked some of those dudes are. You might want to look like them, so you hit the gym. One night, when I was a kid, I couldn't go to sleep, so I went to my living room and turned on the TV. As I let the TV, Don't Let Me Down start to play. It was the Beatles performance on Apple's rooftop. It blew me away. Before that, I wasn't really into music, but that little event sparked my love for music. Jordan Peterson said, "If you can't get up from your bed, can you sit up once a day? If you can't, can you prop yourself on your elbows once a day? If you can only take small steps, take them. Don't devalue their impact or undermine their importance, as those can lead to exponential growth. Your actions can have major impacts. You can play crucial roles in other people's lives, which is beautiful." I'm a great believer in the butterfly effect. It gives meaning to little things. Nothing is useless. Your butterfly effect that changes your life forever can be started today. One thing that always bothered me was when people told me things will get better. I glossed over it because in the back of my mind, I would think, well, yeah, but they can also get worse. I think I finally get it. Well, yeah, things can get worse, but what do I gain from thinking that way? If shit gets worse, am I happy I was right? Just like how when you're pessimistic, shit seems worse, being optimistic can make things a little bit better. It's hard to paint the sky blue when all you want to see is gray. Sure, my friend lost a year of his life, but since he played Team Fortress 2 and spoke in the VC a lot, he got to learn English. That's a great way of looking at things. Which leads me to take a break from the internet. That shit can be so doomer-esque and hopeless. The internet is not a reflection of real life. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, bro. It's mostly random dorks in their bedrooms giving their views of the world, and not some scholar at uni. So no, it's not all over. We are not the last generation. The world isn't Jover because TikTok. Shut the fuck up, bro. If you're overwhelmed and stressed out about whatever, take a good night's sleep. I mean a good night's sleep. The type of sleep you don't remember what day it is and your mouth is dry as fuck. When you're grumpy, irritable, sleep deprived, it makes things like 100 times worse. A long walk is also highly underrated, and a good sleeping schedule comes in clutch. This bed is me yapping, maybe bros onto nothing type shit, but let me cook, bro. I think everyone, even if they don't think they're creative or shit like that, everyone has the ability to create something beautiful. Oh yes, it could be artistic, like a song says, it's a thing, you can show it to others. That's not saying the whole picture. Relationships are one that comes to mind that's a bit more abstract. To know inside of you, something great is lurking, waiting to be found. Knowing that you can make something truly beautiful, and beyond that quest to find it, can give meaning to life. Which leads me to the last bit of advice I can give. Find your purpose in life. Life is weird. It can be cruel. It can be very cruel, unfair, and disgusting at times. What's funny is that humans know this, and even with the knowledge that life can be cruel, can be unfair, humans decide to keep at it. Think about it. Wouldn't it have made more sense for them to be like, oh, for real? You know what, guys? We're not doing this, bro. This shit sucks. Kinda makes you think, right? Maybe life isn't meaningless. You can retort and say, well, maybe humans are simply illogical. Maybe life has no meaning. But we do, because we decided that we did. A girl I was walking home once asked me if I was happy in life. I obviously lied to her, and so I said I was fine. She told me life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel up, sometimes you feel down. To this day, I'm puzzled as to why she asked me that. It came out of nowhere. This was my first time meeting her. But still, her answer stuck with me. I've always liked expressing myself. I like dark, depressing, macabre subjects. I love sharing emotions, even if they're good or bad. While the topics I've spoken about are quite sensitive, ending one's existence is pretty grim, I will say. I think it's nice to talk about these feelings and experiences in a more casual way, though I do get that it's not for everyone. I try to keep things lighthearted and make jokes here and there because I simply don't think that these things have to be scary or taboo subjects. Like I said, I think everyone has had struggles in life or thoughts of suicide. I want to remain optimistic. I have hope for the future. When people end things, When I see people with addictions or in tough situations, it saddens me to remember that that person was once a child. What happened to that happy kid to make him cry so much? What happened to the happy me? If you're depressed, things will get better. If you're suicidal, I get it. All I know is that there are reasons to keep on living. You matter in this world, not because I know you or love you. It would be so insincere and corny for me to say so. I always hate it when strangers say that shit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not indifferent towards you. I'm sure you're quite alright and we'd get along just fine. No, you matter in this world because it's you. It could have been anybody else, but for whatever reason, you are here. It's you. And that's enough of a reason for me to say that you matter. I don't regret not taking my life. There is meaning to my life because I said so. And that's enough of a reason for me to keep on living. I'm back. Oh, holy shit, 2 months, huh? Almost 2 months. The reason why it took 2 months to make this video is because all the footage that you see, except for I'll get into that a bit later. All the footage that you see, I had to make it in Blender. I had to learn Blender because I thought this video is a little special, so I'm gonna make it a little special. That was the worst decision I could have made because it took so much time. However, at the end of the day, I did learn Blender, so that's pretty cool. So anyways, from chapter 2, after the snow footage and up to my room, and that's my room by the way in real life. All that footage comes from a game called My Happy Place, and it was made by Dark Knight 15. So thank you very much. Great game, you should play it. The next Zoomer video is pretty much gonna be in the old style. There's no fucking way I'm doing this again, except for another series I want to start, which will be like this. So this is more like a taste of what's to come. So the next 2 Zoomer videos are one's a little special Zoomer video. It's gonna come way faster because it's easier to make, while the other is just a regular Zoomer video. I have 2 series I want to work on. I'm gonna be honest, what's kind of shit, but they'll be easier to make and I can upload more frequently, so this can become a job, so I can make the other series, which is videos like this one, which are harder to make, longer to make, and obviously higher quality. If this was a job, then I could go full in, but it's not a job. But you know what you can do to help me, bro? Spread the word about me, sing about me, bro, share my channel. Please show it to your fucking grandma, to your teacher, to your friends. Please. Don't kill me, bro. If I don't succeed, it's your fault. I don't want to manipulate you because I did talk about me killing myself. Please don't take it this way. Yeah, I hope you liked the video, bro. On a more serious note, if you're struggling, with sudden desires or depression, hopefully this video made you feel a little more like, oh shit, it's not just me, it's not just you. There's a lot of people who are struggling with things like this. Like, I think motivational speech can have a bit of a scam because I don't think they work. Like, I don't know, I don't think there are words that I can say that, are gonna stop people from ending things, right? This is just a forever problem. I don't know. This video, I don't think in the grand scheme of things is really gonna change anything, really. But I think it's just nice. It's nice to relate to others. But all I can say is that, I believe in you and things will get better, hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.